Hey, what's up, y'all? This is a quick little segment of questions and answer with yours truly, Tony Be Conscious. Everybody's been asking me a bunch of questions on the internet, so I'm going to try to answer them as much as I can, as quick as I can, and give you some insight on me now that I'm moving forward to the next level. So, yeah. Let's get this in real quick. First question everybody always asks me: who are you? Where you come from? Tony Be Conscious. Original name: Anthony Brown. I'm a Brown. Boy, Browns have done amazing things in history, huh? From James Brown, Godfather of Funk, Chuck Brown, Godfather of Go-Go, John Brown, abolitionist, all kinds of Browns throughout history. I could talk about Sterling Box Brown. I don't know. I got to look up that last name Brown. That Brown, them Browns, we must have been original indigenous or Moors or something. So, I come from Seattle. My grandmother and grandfather come from Oklahoma City, or Tulsa to be exact. So I'm from Seattle by way of that bloodline through there. My father, of course, that's all on my mother's side. On my father's side, he comes from Mississippi. His family are blue-black Cherokees. Cherokees! So I got Cherokee on one side. I've got the other indigenous on the other. Trail of Tears, all that. I grew up in Seattle. When I was young, I used to be called Romeo in Seattle. There was only two popular dudes in Seattle. But Seattle seemed to be predominantly black back then. But there were only two popular dudes: Sir Mix-a-Lot Ray and yours truly, Romeo. We were the two heads of state out there as far as hip-hop goes and everything else. So very well known in Seattle as Romeo for many years. Left there one day, just picked up and moved to Cali, moved to LA, went to Hollywood, Central Casting. First day got casted into, some extra parts, got my SAG card. The first week, find me on Hanging with Mr. Cooper, In the House, all kinds of movies, Naked Gun, 33 and a Third, Low Down Dirty Shame, all of that. Did the whole Hollywood thing. Then I discovered Leimert Park. Went to Leimert Park. Became one of the poets, spoken word artists, activists in Leimert Park, hip hoppers down there. Used to do all the festivals. They used to have this festival called the Pan African Festival that was at this park over there, Rancho La Cienega Park. Meet this sister by the name of Queen Sister Charmaine. Me and her hook up. We soulmates. By then I'm conscious. I help her to become conscious. What do? I take her to go see my buddies, the Mooney Twins. I take her to the Good Life. Everywhere we're studying, we're over there studying. I'm around, Ashwar Kwesi. I'm around all kinds of speakers coming to town, and Tony Browder. Back then, Delbert Blair used to be in town all the time. Everybody was coming to Good Life or Leimert Park or somewhere around there, and we were doing lectures and I was studying. So I bring the sister in. She becomes enlightened. Back then I had a prerequisite where I wouldn't date a girl unless she watched Sankofa. She had to watch the movie Sankofa. That was my prerequisite for any woman I was to ever even deal with. After she watched the movie Sankofa, back then it was still on videotape, wasn't even CDs yet really, DVDs. So I had her sit down and watch the movie Sankofa. After that, we talked, she cried, she became a revolutionary. Next thing you know, we hook up with Dr. Khaled. He wants us to become the youth coordinators for the LA chapter of the Million Youth March. So, what do? We do that. Oh, backtrack. I meet her. I make her conscious. She says she can sing a little bit. Me, I'm already a poet. I'm already a hip hopper. I'm already dope at what I do. I write her some songs. And I'm a beatbox. So we put together this group called Intuition. Intuition, like your intuition, but, spelled different way. The letter N, the number 2, WISHN. We become the conscious community's dynamic duo. We buy this big old monster truck we call our Zulu Warrior. We roll around in these big old boots. We jump out the vehicle like two superheroes, performing everywhere, doing our thing. Next thing you know, we meet Dr. Khaled. Like I said, he makes us the youth coordinators for the Million Youth March. So we roll around the country. We do everything with Dr. Khaled. Oh my God. Amazing, amazing, amazing. Amazing. Then, we move to Atlanta. We say, oh, we got to move to Atlanta. We can't be in LA no more. We got to get blacker. We move to Atlanta. From there, we start doing all the East Coast festivals, all the everything. We start connecting with everybody we can think of. That's when we get connected with Bobby, with Valentine, with everybody. Something happens between me and the sister, and, I'm not going to really put the business out there, but it has to do with the conscious community and one of the speakers. Something really bad happens. So, traumatic for me, but, something I had to go through. So we break up. I move back to LA. She moves back to LA. She goes back into Hollywood. That's right about the time, right after Return of the Gathering of the Masters, which was in 2000, like right around the time, right before 9/11 or right around 9/11, and then there was the Gathering of the Masters. It seems like after the Gathering of the Masters, that's when the conscious community broke up, split up, or divided, and it was basically over. So that's when we died down, and that's when you get the rise of the new consciousness, the second wave of the conscious community, when Dr. Khaled died, and oh my God, broke my heart. That was like the most traumatic experience I've ever had in my life. I moved back to LA. I didn't want to trust nobody in the conscious community. I didn't want nothing to do with the conscious community, because before he had died, he told me that we had FBI agents and different people in the party, but he didn't quite tell me who, so I didn't know who to trust. So I completely detached myself from the conscious community for a minute. I kind of went underground. I was dealing with a lot of pain, a lot of trauma with Dr. Khaled. But at that same time, on the East Coast, what was going on was New Black Panther Party splits up or does its own thing. Malik doing his own thing. Sonetta starts what he's doing on 125th, in front of Harlem. So now you've got the second wave of the conscious community coming in. They come in, and that's how that whole thing starts. In the meantime, I'm on the West Coast. What am I doing? I go on tour with KRS-One. I really get back into hip hop, spoken word, all of that. I start doing everything, but I'm anti-slam. But we have a group in LA of Mau poets called the Nappy Tongue Grassroots. And we're studying the consciousness. We're activists, real life Pan-African activists, just like in the movie Bamboozled. We are literally the Maus. And, we're doing that whole thing. So that's happening on the West Coast. We're doing that. And then I go on tour with KRS-One. I start really building with KRS-One. Because backtrack, after Dr. Khaled passed, right before we moved back to LA, me and Queen Sister Charmaine, what we did was we met KRS-One. We met KRS-One out there, KRS-One and Simone. And when we met KRS and Simone, his wife, Queen Simone, love her to death. Oh my God, that's my heart. It was like they finally had found a couple they could hang out with, who they could be friends with. KRS-One used to tell me that he was happy that G. Simone had finally found a sister who was as, into hip hop and as content, because G. Simone sings and she does everything too, had finally found somebody she could connect with. So, yeah, we used to spend a lot of time with KRS-One and G. Simone. It was amazing. We were like the dynamic four, just traveling all over doing our thing. Temple of Hip Hop was just starting in Atlanta. Beautiful thing. So, when the trauma happened, between me and Queen Sister Charmaine, that caused us to break. I moved back to LA. I hadn't seen KRS-One for about a year and a half. He saw me. He was like, "Yo, come to the temple. Tony B, you're back." So I went on tour with KRS. I started doing all of his merchandise and making t-shirts for him, like taking all of his album covers and making dope stuff for him. Because I was already, I had already started the first conscious clothing line in our community that really was like, dropping the knowledge and doing everything. It was called Conscious Enterprises. That's where you get the the Got Melanin shirt that you see that has been here ever since. That's where you get all of that. All of that started from the first wave of the conscious community. First wave. So I went on tour with Chris. Got on tour with him, was doing my thing, making money, had a good time. Came back for the second half of the tour we were going to go on. And, he had a minister server, peace to minister server. This ain't no shade I'm throwing on you or anything, but this cat tells me, he says, "Look, you got to donate your clothing line to the Temple of Hip Hop or you can't go on tour with us anymore." I think it's because I was making more money than Server was. And, me and G. Simone, we had it all worked out. We were making money off the merch. I'm a merch cat. So he kicked me off the tour. So I was like, all right. I was doing a lot for KRS back then. He had this guy by the name of, it was Server and this other little cat named something J, little white kid. I guess they were greedy. They saw me making all the money. They wanted to do it. So as soon as I got off the tour, I heard that, they was trying to do what I was doing. They was out there trying to sell. Got the van stolen at the first stop on the tour, full of the merchandise. Hey, not my fault. So, anyway, I go back to LA. Go back to Venice. I become the #1 artist on Venice Beach. I start using my first element of hip hop. I go down there one day. Just to walk around, check it out. I was like, let me check out Venice. Went down there, saw some cats who knew me, knew I was a legend. They was like, "Yo, you need to come down here and do your thing." I was like, all right, word. I'm going to do that. Came down, never left. That's my story. And I'm sticking to it. Peace.